Hello, I'm Irene Chung, and my experimental HCI final project is called LumiNoto. Ever more than before, our phones and social media apps have been the single source of all our major distractions. Short-form contents constantly reduce our attention span. Therefore, some people have been trying to tackle this issue by creating dumb phones in attempts to reduce overload of functions. This closely relates to the concept of second brains, which are knowledge-managed systems for organizing and extending one's memory to reduce the cognitive load. Note-taking is defined as creating an extended mind by externalizing tasks that are difficult to remember. I face this issue daily. I use the Notes app the most, and some struggles I face with it is that the app is so easy to get unorganized and messy. It also takes time to open the app and type out my thoughts. Oftentimes, my thoughts flow faster than I can type. Then I remembered a TED Talk video that I watched about exactly this, inspiration leaving us because we don't have a quick way to jot them down. So from these real-life struggles, I created 5 design goals that I aim to achieve in this project. I first started with doing research. The 6 most notable usability goals that they note is effective to use, efficient to use, safe to use, having good utility, easy to learn, and easy to remember how to use. The second book I read, Norman, states that experience design is the practice of designing products, processes, services, events, with a focus on quality and enjoyment of total experience. He's emphasizing the importance of designing intuitive and natural interactions. Lastly, the third book I read, here Norman outlines the 3 major aspects of design. 1. Visceral design, meaning appearance. Behavioral design, meaning the pleasure and effectiveness of use. And 3rd, reflective design. He also states that, sure, utility and usability are important, but without fun and pleasure, joy and excitement, our lives would be incomplete. I've also researched some similar existing HCI-focused design products, Plot AI and Pocket. They both focus on being small, compact, and portable, having simple function, and being minimal and comfortable to hold. However, was that it lacked playfulness. The devices were boring and users only got excited for the first few months because there was not that much interaction with the actual device itself. So overall, I want my design methodologies to be focusing on the playful, tangible interface to capture attention, easy, natural interaction with the device, and not overloading the user. So now, with my design goals and ideas, I brainstormed 2 primary user groups. I created my user persona, Hero Collins. Hero is a 28 UX designer, and his goal is to organize his collection of thoughts. His frustrations include being bored of staring at computer screens all day and struggling to structure raw thoughts and create connections between them. His interaction styles are hands-on, tangible tech devices and enjoys playful and visually engaging interfaces. I created 2 different empathy maps of Hero Collins, one for his daily life and another for his user experience with design prototype. Some things that he thinks and feels about is that he has so much to do and think about because projects have various deadlines and he feels like they don't have space to slow down and think and be creative. Here is my single sentence design opportunity. Some initial ideas that were not pursued are remote controller small device forms, portable handheld suitcase forms, which was inspired by the Memex. However, I decided to not pursue these ideas because they had similar downsides of the existing AI note takers of having too simple interactivity, causing users to lose interest. After brainstorming a bit more, I settled on a more finalized ideas of associating lamps and light bulbs with ideas and thoughts. So I decided to design a quick note-taking AI lamp or device where users can easily interact. The main interaction would be intuitive interaction of speech and using AI to transcribe notes onto a synced app. Next, I created a user scenario to explore how my design will work in the real space. And so the core goals of a user scenario would be the users being able to quickly log and expand on ideas with minimal friction and reduce the cognitive load and distraction associated with traditional note-taking. Encouraging deeper thinking by providing conversations with AI, and integrating a playful and tangible interface to enhance engagement and fun. Then to prototype, I first started turning my sketches into a 3D model. Then I moved the outlines of the 3D model into Adobe Illustrator to laser cut the acrylic plexiglass for the lamp shade. I went through several different iterations of the lamp design. I wanted the design to be more organic yet structured to symbolize and visualize how AI works. And so I experimented using fluid curved lines, but I also wanted to make it seem like an actual product design, so I decided on rounded corners with straight lines as the overall aesthetic. Here are the 4 sides of my lamp shade in progress. I chose these colors of light pink, blue, and white as they are high contrast colors, good for accessibility, and also convey a calm and soft mood by mixing pastel tones of both warm and cool colors. This is a video prototype that I've created, role-playing and commercializing my lamp as a real product. Here I'm experimenting with the software, making the LED light gradient, and testing the tilt sensor. Next, these are the early drafts of the app UI created in Figma. During the design sprint, I got feedback from Jade about having interesting rotary and horizontal scroll, but maybe being too hard to display all folders, and too much navigation if the organization is by date, and some ideas of creating custom folders by topics, and having default folders, and recently added notes. I also conducted a cognitive walkthrough where the user had already talked to LumiNoto and made a new note, and so the user goal was to place the most recent note inside of the quotes folder. The task needed to accomplish the goal were to decide whether to create new or select existing folders, click on that folder, and explore the homepage. Here are some of the feedback that I noted down, a few being what happens if you don't save the note and record a new note, and I wanted to just place it in a default folder called Untitled, and what happens when the user places the lampshade on, indicating for the AI to listen but forgets to turn it off. Then I want to add a feature where it automatically turns off after user is silent for a couple minutes so that it's not constantly listening, concerning with privacy. Here's the walkthrough of my app in Figma. The key points here are the screen reader compatibility functions, unique horizontal scrolls, audio functions, and all the customizable accessibility functions such as text size, color mode, and color contrast. There are attempts to keep privacy secure, such as requiring passwords, erasing data, and the help function. And here is the final documentation of LumiNoto. Reflecting back, I think my strengths are that my design keeps privacy by visually indicating when the AI is listening or not, having playful and tangible interface, and the app keeps functions to a minimum using coherent design layouts and taking accessibility into consideration. Some weaknesses, however, is that there are no clear indication of how to flip the lampshade and to indicate which side is which, as well as being no indication of how speech is the main interaction method. Therefore, some further improvements I could make is making an interrupt function to stop the AI mid-sentence for privacy reasons, and options to use the app to turn the AI on or off, or adding a subtitle screen. The user testing truly helped me think of situations that I didn't think about, allowing me to be more considerate in making the design more accessible and comfortable, and also the cognitive walkthrough allowed me to have a clearer vision of imagining how my design would be interacted with real-life users. Also, the video prototype and creating user persona and user scenario helped me focus on specific needs and wants from potential users. What I might do differently, I might think about how to visualize how to interact with the device, such as like guidebooks or display screens or using audio. And I want to conduct a real-life evaluation with user testing my actual design prototypes. And if I had more time, I would definitely make my lamp fully functional using Raspberry Pi and all of the sensors. I had this random idea of what if the device was like a handheld recording pen that functions as a pen but also records and plays back. So as you're writing, you get a thought, you can just press it and it just records straight away. And so here are my research blogs. There's a link to it and it goes to a Google Docs with all of my research. And these are all of the references that I used. Thank you.